Welcome to GACC Podcast, Games, Anime, Computers, and Collectibles, where we cover news and views over the week. Not necessarily everything, but whatever drew our interest. I'm Faust, and with me is...
Hi, I'm Joel.
And...
James, I'm back.
And they're here sitting in for Harrison, Anita, and everybody else who joins us over the last couple of weeks.
Pander.
Yeah. As they all recover from various old people things.
Old people
things. So, that means we're kind of in charge here.
Wow, that's a pretty bad thing to put us in charge.
Yeah.
But.
So, it was kind of a slow news week. That's the other thing we have kind of going for us.
Are you kidding?
There's been a lot of stuff dropping. Slow news. It means that I didn't find anything interesting. So...
Oh, the weather sure is up there, but this isn't about the weather.
So the major news these days is about the hurricanes that are currently trying to wash Florida into the sea. And
how about them bears?
And drown Texas and everything like that. But I do have a few things I want to come out with. One is a story we covered previously on other shows where we, at least Harrison and I, are members of the Alpha program on Wonder's forums. We're kind of keeping an insider view on what's going on there and trying to figure out what this company Wonder is trying to do. And they so far have just been outspoken about saying they're trying to do something for gamers and something in the mobile realm.
Huh, I just missed a joke there. So they're called Wonder?
Wonder.
Do they make bras?
No, you're also thinking about bread?
Wonder bread.
Bras and bread.
Wonder bread.
They have a wide variety of things. The major thing about Wonder is that the Alpha program was supposed to engender a community kind of feel, and that we were supposed to be these insiders who got this information. So imagine my chagrin when Wonder ends up giving an exclusive to Wired, stating exactly what it is that they're working on.
Okay, well, you got to say, hang up. Having somebody come to you and be like, hey, do you want to be on Wired? Yeah. Is like having a musical artist get called by The Tonight Show and be like, hey, do you want to be on The Tonight Show? Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck yeah! Yeah.
So I understand it. I mean, as far as a tech company is concerned, of course, if they get approached by Wired or they approach Wired with exclusives, it's because they're also trying to generate media coverage for what is essentially something that doesn't exist. And that's basically all that the Wired article reported, folks. I mean, they have confirmed they are working on a phone. It is going to be designed from the ground up to function as a gaming device. They want to be able to use peripherals to have it go into like a television screen or a computer interface. They want to be able to use controllers with it or have some sort of control scheme on the device itself. They say they're planning for it to be. Hold on a sec. Questions at the end. They're saying that they want it to be like a phone, usable as a phone, as smartphones are today. But they also want it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more robust in the specs and everything like that. Cat scratching my chair.
Well, the reason I raised my hand is because anybody who's gotten the chance to actually see this, and our household has one, Nintendo Switch. Okay, this is the future, people, and I've said this before because of the fact that if they're going to make a phone like that, they can go straight into the idea of a gaming system where they can take their phone, dock it into a station, and voila. So all they need to do is just get to the microization of being able to do those things. And if they can get there, I mean, we've got HDR phones right now. You've got high resolution 4K on a 5-inch screen.
Over 60 frames.
Yeah. But if you can do that, the Switch has already proven that it will work. So if you can take that to the next level.
That said, since getting the Switch, I've only used it in handheld mode once, and I wasn't even playing a game. It was just to set up the Switch. Have you played handheld?
Yeah.
Is it functionally identical, essentially, or is it there's some translation?
No, it worked just as because I just plugged it in. Yeah. Controls work just like I was using a regular controller.
So, with all of that said in the Wired article about this Wonder phone that they're designing, what they've basically confirmed is that these are all just kind of concepts that they're trying to fulfill, but they're speaking with a renowned designer. Let me get his name up here because
but it's gonna have to be a phablet.
It's going to be. They are like a tapping
10-incher,
like a 6. I would assume 5 for the low side and like a 6.
I apologize in advance for messing up this name if I mess it up, but Yves Behar was approached by the CEO of Wonder asking to design this phone, and his first warning was, you don't realize how hard it is to do this stuff.
Well, the other question would be the OS. Mm-hmm. Are they going to stick with iOS? Or are they going to stick with Android?
Because well, if they go with iOS, they have to basically sell everything to Apple. That's the only way you get iOS on something. Yeah,
they're going to go with Windows.
They're going to go with Android.
It'll be Windows 10.
Windows has already said they never want to touch phones again.
They're either going to go with Android or they're going to build something from the ground up Linux-based like Android. So it's going to be an Android-like or Android-based phone. Most likely. That's speculative, but that seems like the most likely thing to do. Right now, the only thing that they really have as far as a concept, an actual physical thing to hold are mock-ups, like plasticine sort of casts and stuff of different bezels and designs and stuff that this designer, Bahar, is coming up with. And the CEO is just throwing everything at the wall. It's like, well, what about a attachable controller, or what about something on screen, or something as a part of the phone that makes controlling easy so that they don't have to like keep on tapping their screen, or...
Should we make the Nokia N-Gage?
No, yeah. They do point out they don't want to do something like the N-Gage. They don't want to do something like another. Sony made a gaming mobile.
I remember that, actually.
Yeah, and they don't want to go down that road where, I mean, the first thing they're trying to avoid is, it's as stated, is that they're trying to avoid that it make it look like a toy. Yeah. Kind of thing like the N-Gage was or something like that. Instead, what they want to do is have it be more modern, more enticing towards the tech-savvy market.
So if you look at like the Nintendo Switch controller with the two sliding sides,
masterfully designed.
Yeah, I mean,
well, except for when you're putting the little slidey tabby things on the separate controllers. So far, every single person who's tried to do it, besides me, has managed to get one of those fuckers jammed on the controller because they put it on backwards. Shut it. So a little clearer demarcation of exactly what you're supposed to do with that.
But you could, I mean,
I'm gonna get some enamel paint and mark that properly so people know which side it goes on.
There are already designs from people like Mad Cats back in the old days where you can plug your phone into a controller-based system. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, hell, as long as they just don't decide to kick it off with Bluetooth because we don't want the Black Plague. The Black Shakes. I was trying to go Johnny Mnemonic.
Black Shakes.
Yeah, the Black Shakes. Yeah. If they can go with something that can plug into the phone or really sync up well, that doesn't have a bad lag time between it, then that would be great. And, I mean... The Nintendo Switch has already proven that a 7.5-inch screen is perfectly fine for gaming.
They're probably also trying to focus on stuff. This is, again, speculation. There's been no statement. But they're probably also trying to focus on stuff like augmented reality or mixed reality when it's a handheld device. I've always been a very big fan of the philosophy of technological singularity, that we're moving towards a unified device that does everything you'd ever have a device for. I mean, phones already have taken the place of so much. I mean, they do... they do professional level photography, professional level videography. We use two LG V20s to record almost every bit of content that we make for this show.
This is not a product placement.
No. We've got they do almost studio level recording quality depending on where you utilize it. I remember using my phone personally on it when I was in a cathedral in Chicago to record some audio, and it actually came out rather clear.
That crying baby.
Yeah, that crying baby. It wasn't really crying. It was almost the baby was trying to sing. Yeah, it was just ethereal and creepy. And I just I got to record this. It was awesome. So I believe that we're moving towards that, especially with technology becoming more miniaturized and more focused on mobile. It's going to be a device that you have with you, and it's going to be your memory card, your cloud access, your wallet. It's going to be your gaming device, your internet device, and instead of this big box kind of thing with consoles or actual PC gaming, it's going to be this one device that you do plug into a dock to use on a full screen or something like that.
That can also kick it. Like, I would love to see the integration happen. I really would. I've got tons of pipe dreams. I don't want to give it away just in case anybody ever gets a chance to be like, hey, that guy on that weird random podcast actually...
I came up with it first.
Yeah. But...
Patent suit.
I mean... I've always believed that sooner or later a single object is going to be the integration of everything. And it used to be like, and I can back this up because I used to take a DVD player and an MP3 player onto a plane and try to juggle a whole bunch of things. Mm-hmm. The last 2 times I've gotten onto the plane, you know what I take? I take this.
Yep.
And a pair of headphones. And that's it. Because if all you need is this... If all you have is that, it makes life so easy.
It plays games, it plays movies, you can emulate on it, so you can play even classic games.
Yeah, you just need battery life.
Definitely. A backup battery.
Yeah.
You carry a rather huge one with you on occasion.
Yeah.
Just because you're always doing
so do I. I have that big brick from Ozark.
I don't know. So Wonder is essentially trying to move into the mobile market, and they're trying all sorts of different concepts. So right now, we don't have an actual concrete idea for sure what's coming up with, other than that it's mobile focused now at this point instead of a VR headset.
Good. We don't need more like VR.
VR itself is seeing some weird implementations. I believe Oculus just came out with some new specs, which is weird from them. They've been rather quiet as far as like that. HTC is looking to sell off its mobile market, and some companies, Google is looking at buying up HTC's. Well, at least HTC's mobile production line.
Let me rephrase a little bit. VR is a great universal tool when it comes to like mocking up. And like the Oculus actually has amazing tools for surgeon like tools so that they can learn new systems. Mm-hmm. It allows painters to really get into the whole brushstroke thing. But I just don't see the value in games so far with VR.
Because there's not a lot of games.
Well, not only that, but they're just... It costs a lot of freaking money to make anything work. Mm-hmm. And it's either they have to half-ass it and cut profit, or they have to...
even Facebook's attempts with the Oculus, HTC, the PlayStation VR, like the major headsets that are out there trying to do something and try to garner support or favor from the tech community, from the gaming communities. What it all seems to be they're doing right now is sort of one of those horrible business things where they're in a holding pattern. They've gotten the technology to a point where it's functional enough to display it, functional enough to show it off and sell to people and have them be able to do something, with it. But
hopefully.
It's ambiguous enough, and it's trying to get developer support. And what they're doing is holding on this until either some major company comes along and starts buying up the technology from them, and then they just sell it off at a profit.
Yeah,
from what they bought it for, or they're just waiting for industry adoption or to be the one that wins the race as it is, and they're not trying to innovate any further on that. They're not trying to improve upon it. Now that said, a lot of them have gone the route of they're trying to make it a more all-encompassing system, like a mobile device that you don't have to have it hooked up to a computer, you don't have to tether it or wear a backpack or something like that. And the games themselves are going to be designed around this mobile capability. And when you think about something like the Switch, which is capable of playing a game as broad and detailed as Breath of the Wild, beautiful game, wonderfully done, and it's not even a 4K 60 frames a second game,
right?
It doesn't have that huge, what do you call it? That huge. Gaming, penis. Yeah, it doesn't have the massive golden pixels and diamond graphics that every game feels like it needs to have. But it still comes across as a very well presented game, and it's on this device that it's as big as your face, and that device handles the TV display. That device handles all of the gaming stuff, and it is designed around gaming. It's not designed around a social platform or delivering media and just games are sort of a side thing that it does, like Xbox and PlayStation 4. Now, granted, there have been plenty of games on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Whatever do you mean? Would you like to try Xbox Gold?
Yeah, every time I start up my Xbox now, it tells me I should use Cortana. I'm like, I don't use Cortana at all. Like, why do you think that if you just keep on shoving it in front of me, I'm eventually like, okay, Cortana, how do I shut this the fuck off?
I it's like
Cortana when you open up,
come back as like from Portal, as the Portal person,
GLaDOS.
Yeah,
it's like you tripped me up.
I know, I derailed.
He did.
Absolutely. So, taking a device like that and being able to, with the bendable screen technology, with the modular like case technology and stuff like that, you'd almost think that you'd be able to take something like that, have it as a handheld, or even be able to. They have phones that you can fold in half as a have it as a phone, unfold it, have a full on tablet. You could do something along those lines. I was thinking it was like sort of transform it and be able to like clip it onto your head, VR style, and have it go into like a VR display sort of thing.
That'd be kind of cool.
So
as long as it doesn't give you headaches, like Virtual Boy.
That's down to. Well, Virtual Boy was just eye strain upon eye strain beyond eye strain.
Well, that's because they went, hey, let's use red.
Let's use the most eye straining color out there and make it super contrast.
Okay, time out. It's not the most eye straining color. The reason it is because of the black background. Red is used in many places like aviation and like army settings because they want to be able to have the red makes it so that you don't lose your night vision. Mm-hmm. It doesn't counteract the rod cone problem that's in your eyes. The problem is you don't do that to gamers who are going to stuff their face in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it because, like you said, the black background and stuff like that. The reason why I say it's the most eye-straining thing possible is because, you stick your head into these goggles. You can't even wear them. They're so heavy. Yeah. The Virtual Boy. I mean, they had a head strap, but it was just like basically asking for whiplash on top of eye strain. And then you're wearing this, and you get night vision, and you're not even losing night vision. But unless you're playing it like late into the night, and trust me, with the expensive catalog of Virtual Boy games that there were,
10?
Yeah, there was like 10 or 20 or something like. Yeah, there was
some small number.
It was some number. You can get them all and stack them up like this high. You wouldn't be playing them like big marathon sessions. They weren't these big, huge games. They were just more taking advantage of the 3D and being these little like one-off. They're almost they would count as mini games these days in other bigger games. And so you take that and you would take off these goggles and go immediately to bright, full-on color vision. So on top of your eyes like straining with this massive contrast, you take it off and your eyes would get strained even further, trying to make up, like having to do that quick adjustment from night vision, the night vision that you were ostensibly maintaining to this.
This is true.
So, in other news, to jump off of that.
Right.
For those people who make use of the services of Google Drive, one of the first ever cloud drives that there were.
I think I have like 4 documents on it. Why? What's up?
Google Drive and or Photos. So
I do use Photos.
Yeah, Google Drive and Photos for PC and Mac are going to be eliminated starting December 11th, 2017. They're going to start phasing out that service.
Oh, they're going to phase out Google Documents?
Not documents, but Drives. They're going to be replaced by a single app called Backup and Sync, which handles photos and data at once.
They're consolidating. They're actually not getting rid of it.
And they're moving enterprise users and business users to a different one called the Drive File Stream. So essentially, this is one of those longer running services that is getting jumbled in and mixed around into something more of a better focus, I guess. Mm-hmm. But in the realm of cloud things, I mean, I've got Google Drive, I've got OneDrive because I use Windows. And I used it enough that they decided to hand me like 200 gigs for a year or something like that. So I was using Dropbox, but I mean...
That's gotten bad.
Yeah, that got really bad. I think I still have an Asus file drive from like a tablet that I got ages ago.
I have a lot of Excel documents up in the cloud.
I mean, I use cloud stuff to transfer, just do kind of like file transfers. And when it gets full, I just delete stuff out of it. I don't use a cloud drive for much.
Is this only for PC and Mac users? What about phones?
And there is it mostly right now. It looks like they're moving it to just the desktop flavors. Okay,
because I mean, it is invaluable on my phone, and if they got rid of it, it'd be trying to figure out how they want to move forward. I know that they're going to the single sync, which is fine.
It could be that they're just going to roll that kind of functionality from the app in because the app is just the front end.
Yeah.
And so they're just going to basically roll that app into this new version. They own and operate all of Android, so they can do whatever the hell they want with it, really. And we just have to kind of deal.
Yeah,
is essentially what it is. But this is something of a sort of a public service announcement. If you do make heavy use of Google Drive in a business enterprise or even personal thing on your desktop, if that's your cloud of choice, you might want to consider, at least for potentially the ostensible future, finding a different way to store your files just in case. Because they are going to be switching it over to a different service as it is. And the last time that Google did a massive switch over of like its data storage technology is when they got rid of Google Video. And they offered, because they had bought and maintained YouTube to a point where they wanted YouTube to be their main focus. And they had a video thing because they were trying to compete with YouTube at one point. And when they found out they couldn't compete, they just bought YouTube. So
we can't compete with that. Buy
you. Can't beat them.
Buy it out.
Yeah. So when the Google YouTube thing came over, I was watching a lot of content that got hosted on Google Video that had to be brought over to YouTube, and their handling of that file transfer as it was horrible. I mean, at that point in time, online video wasn't exactly H.264 HD 4K 60 frames, but the quality drop that you got from taking a Google Video and having to migrate it over to YouTube was basically essentially being like, well, you should have saved your masters. You should have made your backup of your source or something like that, because it is a massive drop. They had frame drops. They lost videos. They messed stuff up like that. So when it comes to important files, for those people who put important files on their cloud. Not me.
No.
Yeah, not me. You might want to make backups or make sure that you clear out your drive.
Yeah, I don't have important documents
before December 2017. Just to let you guys know.
I do use Dropbox though.
Dropbox was good to initially start out. I used it a lot for like sharing art and little sketches and stuff for people and things. When it got to like when I got really heavy into doing the podcasting that I do and had to transfer files about, and I didn't really want to carry a computer with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I would just tell them to upload it to Dropbox and share it to me, or I would log in at their computer and upload it to Dropbox. And after a time, it's just started filling up and getting difficult to use unless I upgraded to their premium service. And by that time, I had upgraded to Windows 10 and used OneDrive enough that they were like, "Oh, here, have some
space.
Have 10 times the space you have on Dropbox." And I was like, "Okay, like even 100 times the space you have on Dropbox." Like they just handed me a lot of space, and I was like, "Okay, I'm switching to OneDrive just because it's the most space that I have online."
Very true.
Yeah. So to jump off of that, I would think there was enough games and.
Well, I want to bring up a few things.
What do you got?
At least when it comes to games right now, we have some pretty big heavy hitters coming out in 2018.
We do,
and we're coming to the point where like I'm anticipating at least 3 of them. So The Last of Us 2, very much a cliffhanger, well done, good storyline, is coming around, and I can't wait for it. And that's coming out next year. We got Red Dead Redemption 2. We've got all kinds of great ones. Let's see what else. Metroid Prime 4. Mm-hmm. We got
that's exciting.
The new Spider-Man game, which I'm not. Yeah, but here's my
Spider-Man.
Well, so I have seen some play footage that they showed to kind of tease the Spider-Man game that they're coming out with, and they do that kind of integrated fight thing that was popularized with Batman: Arkham Asylum.
Okay,
but they're putting a Spider-Man spin on that, so at least the combat is going to be very Spider-Man centric with that Arkham Asylum sort of thing. And
hopefully, it's not that whole gray and black and white thing that you can go do throughout the entire
Vision
game.
Detective Vision.
Yeah, because Batman. Vision, because Batman versus the Argonauts.
Because it's like everything's gray.
Okay, so I'm not one big for the Spider-Man fighting game, but here's my geekdom coming out. Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z is coming out soon. And this is supposed to be like a big one for them, especially since it's supposed to be as graphical as the anime, but it's also supposed to integrate kind of like a Street Fighter, the
old school anime or the new one.
Which one?
Because there is one of the one of the Dragon Ball Z's animation that was kind of bad, actually.
No, the new one. But they're also kind of going for like
you know what I'm talking about, right? Because it was like the old one was like really well done, and they came out with some of the new stuff, and you're like, that's kind of bad.
The thing about it was, anime went through a kind of a paradigm shift in my view, where they started doing traditional cell animation, and they got really good at that.
Right.
And that's where we have like graphical. Cinematic attempts that are just monsterly masterful, like Ghost in the Shell and Akira. Those were both cell drawn, hand drawn, and had very little computer manipulation done to them. And then it moved into the digital age, where computers just became more and more prevalent as far as developing that stuff was. But it still stuck to that whole 2D cell design. And somewhere along those lines, around the Code Lyoko time, something like that, they tried to move into taking something, rendering it in a 3D sense, and then between shading and camera positioning, they kind of tried to make that crunch down depth-wise into a 2D sense.
But this one is going to be 3D like in Injustice. And that's an interesting spin for the Dragon Ball Z franchise.
Cool.
They've never gone really to the full 3D realm fight. Now, I played some of the other Dragon Ball Z games, and it's kind of pow, zoom, whap kind of feel, because they still kind of stick to that 2D.
I think the Naruto fighter was the same way, wasn't it? Where it was doing its best to try and look like a cartoon, like you were playing the cartoon.
Yeah.
But this one, they're supposed to be removing more of the cartoon-esque and kind of moving into the more digital version of it. So that seems interesting. And, of course, that's based off of the article I found. Yeah. Then we have Far Cry 5.
Of course.
And which is still getting massive blowback from a lot of people.
A lot of controversy.
Yeah, because it basically is you can customize your avatar, which you'll never look at, but you're in America and dealing with cultists.
Yeah.
So that's making people feel a little weird.
Yeah. So you could essentially be a black guy taking on Branch Davidians.
Then there's Monster Hunter.
There's some history for you folks.
Then there's Monster Hunter 4, and then...
Whatever.
Yeah, that one's kind of a blowback, but this one is interesting. God of War is being remade.
Yeah, we brought that up last time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was talking about the new one that's coming out.
Yeah, no.
They're remaking the original.
They're rebooting God of War.
Cool.
And
it's been long enough.
Yeah.
But, like... I just wonder what they're going to do with that.
They're going to take out the tits, I can tell you that much.
The tits need to stay.
Sorry.
They need to still have fucking so that they can have that be...
They need to do that just to compete with The Witcher.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's true.
Well, you remember in God of War,
Witcher 3.
You got extra energy during the sex scene, and it popped up a whole bunch of extra gold and everything like that.
You had sex. Here's money and health.
And then, of course, the one that I'm waiting for above all.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh man, we've been waiting for that one for
I've got
over
a
a decade.
raging game on.
I think
one.
I was like, I was in high school.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 came out and it was gummy ships.
Yeah.
And you didn't like the gummy ship battles because it was so bad and chalky and And
then the level I liked in the original Kingdom Hearts was the one everybody hated.
What, Ariel?
Alice in Wonderland. No, fuck that. that doesn't even count as a level. That's a rhythm game.
Ariel
under the sea. But
that's a rhythm game that got snuck into like a good RPG.
But no, so Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out next year, and that's going to be one where you're not going to be able to tear me off the television.
Then they'll remake it as a HD Master one 3 months later,
3.5,
and then they'll make a 3.52,
and put something out on the PS Vita because why not?
Why not?
Yeah, but the PS Vita is dead. I thought
no. It's not.
Oh, okay.
They're keeping it on live support with like RPG releases, just basically RPG and like digital novel releases. They don't get any real like innovative games per se. I will say the game that is exciting me, the one I've been watching pretty closely, and usually I kind of like perk up anytime I hear any information about it. Randy Pitchford of Gearbox has confirmed that he's made a statement saying 90% of the studio, Gearbox's studio, is working on the game that everybody thinks they should be working on.
Fanboy.
I am a fanboy.
Borderlands 3.
Fanboy. They say that they're working on it, that most of the studio is working on it, while they do have some of the studio's resources devoted towards their upcoming, right now enclosed technical testing. Project 1v1 is about the only thing we know about it, which is a shooter, somehow has a card element to it, a card game element. I'm unsure as to how that's integrated. I've gotten into the technical test.
I haven't really
played with it too much.
Final Fantasy 8 card game, or are we talking about like what?
Right now, there's really much that's been unconfirmed. It's just that cards are involved, but it is a shooter. It's competitive, one versus player, you and one other person, and you have to, which I think is a little bit limiting in scope per se. It's sort of an online arena sort of deal. So there is a King of the Hill component to it or something. I haven't. A lot of detail is not really coming out. Because it is under a closed test, and they're still kind of working with the mechanics and things like that. So,
well, if you're going to be a fanboy, I'm going to be a fanboy.
Okay.
So BioWare and EA are coming out with a new game, Anthem.
Boo. Well, Anthem, I mean...
Except for they're saying it could have the chops of what Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect had.
Which didn't have any, really.
Oh, screw you, boy. I loved Mass Effect. Mass Effect...
Every BioWare game since Knights of the Old Republic has done the exact same thing.
I disagree.
Every single one.
I disagree.
It has done that BioWare back and forth bullshit where you go from one town to the other, have to talk to absolutely everybody in that huge conversation pie that makes you feel bloated and disgusted with yourself. Okay. And then you get begrudgingly shoved into some covered-based shooter kind of bullshit that doesn't really expand beyond its initial statement. And then what do you have to do? Go back to the town and do more back and forth
Looks like he popped
bullshit.
your bubble. He was like, look at that papa!
Hey, I was nice enough not to do it to you. What is fucking Borderlands? It's you running back and forth between the town, collecting guns, and shooting crazed maniacs who are on fire and want to kill you.
Okay, Borderlands is a game where you go to a dusty... Let me go. Borderlands is a game where you walk through various flavors of landfill shooting Jason Voorhees.
And Mass Effect is a plethora of different planets giving you the chance to fight giant mechanical beings who are trying to take over the universe.
I have a game that's coming out on the 29th of this month. I'm not a fanboy, but I want to try it. It's based off like the 1930s comics.
Can we rally against him on this one?
No, we can't.
No, you can't.
I'm excited for this one too.
What's the name of it?
The Adventures of Cuphead.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
Adventures of Cuphead.
Yeah, Cuphead.
Yeah, so it's like a 1930s cartoons. You know the.
Let me.
The noir stuff.
Yeah. And so what happens is it's a shooter game. And it kind of reminds me of Contra, the old Contra stuff, because I saw a gameplay of it, and he picks up this gun that has like the 3-way shooter thing like Contra does, but it looks fun because it has the art style from the 1930s, and
yeah, Cuphead is
pretty awesome.
It's called Cuphead. Don't deal with the devil, as a subline. It is a cell drawn digital platformer shooter. Of the not really bullet hell, but sort of your Donkey Kongs and stuff like that, your Contras, like he was mentioning, Mega Man's, stuff like that. But the entirety of the game looks hand drawn in that 20s, 30s little kind of
a propaganda feel.
Kind of not. Yeah, I mean it has a sort of propaganda-ish feel. It has a sort of a fluid animation feel where it doesn't feel like it's a sprite that you're just triggering animations to most of the time.
All right.
It looks fluid and rubbery, and it has just this massive amount of detail to it.
All right.
And I've got the trailer up on my screen right now.
I know, right?
And it is due out September 29th. It's been announced for Xbox One, Windows, Steam release.
Oh, I guess I know where you're getting it.
That's why
I'm excited for it. Right now, I'm under a moratorium where I'm not allowed to buy new games.
You're not allowed to.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to buy new games. Doesn't mean people can't buy games for me.
Exactly. That's what I figured he was going to say. Yeah, I saw that.
That doesn't mean that you can't buy me a video game.
But the only 2 games that I have listed as an exception that I will spend money on coming out are Borderlands 3, because I'm a fanboy, and I'm very excited to see where they go with it. Regardless of where they go with it. Unless it's a card game. Then you guys have earned my ire for the rest of my life. Or, also, the next Elder Scrolls.
True.
Yeah.
Next Elder Scrolls is always a good one.
There hasn't been much information coming out about Elder Scrolls because they're all just kind of sticking to that Elder Scrolls Online MMO aspect that they're doing with it.
MMOs in my life.
So we don't really hear much more about Elder Scrolls 6. Skyrim is the one that's being pushed. They're even putting it out. Yes. They're even putting it out on Switch. I've made this statement before. I will make it again. I am not buying Skyrim again.
You're right. Someone else will buy it for you.
No. I have said that when they released the special enhanced edition. Because at that point, it was just the same game with an upgrade. And it wasn't even necessarily the best upgrade you could get because free mods were out there that made it look even better. And when they announced it for the Switch, and I had a Switch, and I was like, I'm not buying Skyrim again. I've played this game to death. I still have it. I can still play it as much as I want. I still go back and play it with a random roll character build. So I'm not just a sneaky archer the whole time. So
sneaky archer.
Yeah. I have done that game to death. There is nothing unless they come out with a completely different game and just happen to call it Skyrim, like Prey, which was a completely different game, and they just happened to call it Prey.
Yeah, I thought that's like, hey, another Prey game.
Prey was all right. It was one of the first shooter games in a long time that gave me that survival horror feel.
Yeah,
that was like I was just afraid to progress.
I had that for like all of maybe 2 hours. And then I've got used to like predicting where it may or may not show up.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, they give you the ability to find the mimics and stuff like that. Well, but it does become kind of predictable when you know that if you've progressed along a certain point. To jump really off topic, when you progress along across a certain point in the story, you kind of predict, okay, this means that harder enemies are going to spawn, or they're gonna get out, or something like that.
Or you carry around a turret because it's your little buddy.
Your turret and you.
Too bad they crumble like they're made out of tinfoil. Well, when you fight
the bigger ones,
these are supposed to be super advanced kind of. Well, I know the bigger guys are not even the bigger guys, just the guys bigger than mimics. They still take out turrets in like 2 hits.
Yeah, the Phantoms.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's a little bit like, okay, this is future technology, and I understand these are like aliens and stuff like that, but I mean, you built a fucking space station. The turret should be able to hold up, or you should have more to defend the interior of your space station than just some crappy weak sauce turrets.
But no one expects to fight.
Nobody expects the crappy weak sauce turrets. That's like the turrets in Half-Life 2. Like those. Like, everybody was like, oh, I hate the turrets. I'm like, you just knock them over. It's like the worst possible turret design. The best turrets ever designed? Portal turrets.
That's because they were bastards.
Yeah. It's a turret, and I mean, they're supposed to be in strategic locations to defend areas, and they're supposed to be very, very simple. If they detect something in front of them, they shoot it.
Even if it's themselves.
Oh.
The funniest one I ever did with, actually, again off topic, the funniest, like, turret self-kill was the putting a portal right next to the opposite, and it could see itself, so it shot itself. It's all dee 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 dee. I was all.
So you two have anime to bring up. I
have an anime.
Told me.
Do you have an anime?
I could talk about Assassination Classroom, which is awesome.
I've watched a couple of things of that. It looks like it'd be entertaining if I wanted to sit down and just kind of shut off for a bit.
That's because you're not paying attention. You say yours first.
Yeah, I'll say mine. So I did find out there's a Netflix anime parody being brought out. It's supposed to be making fun of certain anime tropes, as it were.
Okay.
It's called Neo Yokio. What really kind of drew me in was the fact that it's actually got this weird voice cast being brought in to work on the show. The major headliner that they're trying to push forward is Jaden Smith. Also, Willow Smith is actually being approached as well. It seems that Vampire Weekend's lead singer Ezra Koenig has been working on it as well, along with other pals. They brought in Jude Law, apparently. There are other ones like Stephen Fry, Richard Oyade,
Steve
Buscemi.
Jesus.
And they're saying it's if you think about it, it's like Wes Anderson is directing an anime.
All right.
So, as an homage to the shonen genre, the anime offers a serious dose of postmodern style. It follows the exploits of bored teen bachelor Kaz Khan, a citizen of the fictional city of Neo Yokio, which looks like a futuristic Manhattan. There's mechs, brash sidekicks, couture fashion, bratty rich kids, and a spoonful of black magic. So what it makes me think of is one of the most awesome animes you've ever shown me, which is Abenobashi Arcade. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that it was always a different episode.
Totally different.
Just totally different. So, yeah, if you like one of those things where it's like every episode is kind of just totally different from the last one, Abenobashi Magic Arcade or something. Abenobashi Magic Arcade was really good. And this one sounds along those lines. It might be sticking to an overarching
from what
story.
You showed me there, it looks like Transformers, freaking Sailor Moon, Oron Host Club.
Mm-hmm. It's trying to, that's all shonen kind of stuff where it does kind of set up that sort of slice of life thing, and then usually go off the rails because that's what draws in the readers.
Yeah.
So this is a Netflix original. The trailer is up on Netflix currently.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it looks quite interesting. I might actually give it a shot as opposed to Ruby, Seven Deadly Sins.
Okay, Seven Deadly Sins was good. I don't care who you are, but
it's terrible.
Take it back.
Nope.
You thought you didn't care?
Back.
I thought you don't care.
Yeah, I thought you don't care.
About what?
About who it is.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Obviously did because he told me to take it back.
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
Yeah. So what is Assassination Classroom?
So Assassination Classroom is about the Walmart smiley face.
Walmart smiley face.
I will say it did look like that.
Does he cut prices?
Is that where he gets the face idea?
I have no idea. It doesn't actually go into it. Mm-hmm. So it's if you've ever actually paid attention to the school systems in Japan, they're quite different from America. Yeah. And so this talks about a middle school, which is junior high and high school, basically, for us in that range of kids who are trying to get into that next level, and they have different classes: A class, B class, C class, D class, and E class. Mm-hmm. And E class is supposed to be all the screw ups and the fuck ups and the horrible kids and the bad people, and they even put them way, way far out on the ends of campus and don't give them any
resources,
benefits at all.
Access,
and so it turns out that this alien comes out of nowhere and destroys half of the moon. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's throw out the physics of this because doing that would royally screw up the planet. 1. But 2, he decides that he makes a truce with the authority figures in Japan that if he can teach e-classroom in this school for the next year, he will not attempt to blow up the planet until afterwards. and only the kids that are in that classroom will not be attacked or hurt or damaged by him in any way, shape, or form, and they are allowed to try to assassinate him.
As much anytime,
anywhere, any place, and he will never have repercussions against him. And one of the greatest parts about this is it takes the most random, screwed up crap that you would expect out of this classroom, and it kind of gives you a Mr. Rogers feel by the end. By the end, he's just like, it's so nice that you're just, yes, feel free to express yourself in any way possible. And it's just like, he's the nicest possible person to his students, and he's so mocking and nonchalant the entire time that, yeah, you're sitting there, like, kind of just watching it and being like, how is he so nice but so screwed up at the same time?
I know, right?
And it's worth the watch. And they just finished season 2 dubbed. Because I don't like to read. I'm American. Mm-hmm. But
I've seen many great series where all I can remember is the bottom third of the screen because I've been too busy reading the subtitles.
Yeah, I remember that. I read most of it.
It's like one day I'd actually like to sit down and watch Amelie.
Yeah,
but
I had that problem with Naruto.
Yeah,
and like I got to the point where I was just like, I have to watch more Naruto.
I will say,
it was only in Japanese.
I did have to break down and turn on the dub for Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex because those Tachikoma episodes.
Oh yeah,
like you thought they were bad in English.
Oh. But yeah, so no, I mean, Assassination Classroom is out there. Like I said, second season's just dubbed. It's on Hulu. It's well worth it, and just to sit down. And like I said, by about the 4th or 5th episode into the first season, you're just like, how is he like Mr. Rogers and the devil all at the same time? It's just like, because you're like, he's talking about nonchalantly blowing up things, but at the same time, he's just like, now don't forget, do your studies, all while they're attempting to stab him and shoot him,
blocking
blow
them.
him up.
Yeah. And he doesn't really harm the kids.
No, he never touches the kids.
Yeah.
He never once hurts the kids.
Or like backlashes against an assassination.
Nope.
He just stops him and goes, good try.
Yeah. And he'll be like, you know what you forgot this time? The fact that I can move at Mach 20.
Yeah.
And like, it keeps going on with all this stuff. But yeah, like anybody outside the classroom though, if they attempt to even like hurt the kids or put the kids in jeopardy, they're out.
Yeah.
Like he takes them out so quick. And so it's definitely worth the watch. And like I said, by the time you're finished, you're like, I kind of like him. I hope he doesn't die.
Maybe I'll have to give it a shot.
You'll have to.
Yeah. No. What about you, James? Have you been watching anything lately?
I've just been watching the same stuff. I've watched... No, actually, I have not watched anime this week. I did not watch any anime this week. I take that back. I watched Sonic Boom, but I finished that, though.
I don't think I've really watched much of anything. I've been watching Cosmos with my grandmother and uncle.
Yeah.
I've been doing a couple episodes of that every week, and it's an interesting. You can get it off of like Amazon Prime.
Oh, I've been watching the Vampire on Netflix. It's Dark Knight or something Night. It's Vampire Night.
Yeah.
Vampire Night.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the only one I know for sure that I've been keeping up with.
I'm all something Night.
One we've covered on the show before, which is Castlevania on Netflix, which is like a 4-part series. Like the first season is just 4 episodes.
He did amazingly well.
Oh yeah, really well done, really great, really well written, really well animated. Really draws you in. Mm-hmm. And makes you like understand the motivations of Dracula and Alucard, and yes, there's Alucard,
which is Dracula backwards.
Mm-hmm.
The safe word is Alucard.
Mm-hmm. The safe word is the Flirtgeheiner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So far, Netflix has not announced when season 2 is supposed to come out.
That sucks.
But while you're at it, I mean, you can watch Blame, which I just saw here, and I'm like, ooh, because I've liked Blame as a manga. I think it's one of the most well-drawn mangas there are.
Okay.
Is it manga or mangas?
Manga.
It's just manga. It's one of the... Okay. It's,
I guess.
I watched the new Death Note.
Yeah? Is that the movie? Or
the movie.
Yeah.
With Willem Dafoe as Kuroko.
The demon guy?
Really?
Yeah. Dude, his voice is perfect. I mean, that's dead on.
Now they just need Christopher Walken in there.
So is that demon guy? Is he
awesome.
like CG or is he?
He is computer animated.
He did the CG because I remember seeing the CG Kuroko doing the Apple Pen. They actually released an animation of him doing that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Little Witch Academia is new
That's
episodes.
awesome. I mentioned that a while back.
Its new episodes are up once again. It is a limited release. It's not the full season.
Yeah, it's only like what?
But it's still more Little Witch Academia.
12?
Which is
12 episodes on there?
12 out of like
26,
something like that. Yeah. So you know that they're going to be releasing more. Seven Deadly Sins,
which they
still up there.
teased us.
That was awesome because these guys were like, season 2's out. Yeah. And they finished the 3 episodes. Wait a minute. That wasn't season 2.
Yeah, it was season 1.5.
That was, oh, you bastards. Now I just laughed and laughed and laughed.
You would.
So there's also, for those people who are interested, yes, Agent is still up. Yes, the new Voltron is still there.
Voltron's awesome.
Season, actually.
There's a new season of Voltron.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. There's something called Magi Adventures Sinbad. Marvel Defenders, which
isn't CG at all.
CG
I mean,
at
sorry,
all.
it's not even anime at all.
It's just a Netflix original that happens to be in some way related.
Comic book related.
There is a Marvel anime
coming out
soon.
Yep.
I can't remember what it was, but this is just information that just came to light. So Blame gets a recommendation from me if you're ready for some cracked out, just weird.
Seven Deadly
Madoka
Sins.
Magica's still up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can still watch like Attack on Titan and Sword Art.
I still couldn't get Sword Art was good, but I still can't get into Attack on Titan.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. Now, in other news, well, we did cover this when Boss Panda was on a few shows ago or something like that. Apparently, there was the Naruto run, which is where everybody runs with their hands back because they like flat
on the beach.
their face. So apparently, there is not just one, but a handful of organized Naruto runs that wanted to run straight into Hurricane Irma as it hits the Florida coast. I wonder how that went.
I don't know, but I do know that they put Blood Prison, Naruto's 6th or 7th movie.
Yeah.
They just released that under dubbed.
Yeah.
And that came out on Netflix just recently too.
Nice.
So, and that's worth a watch if you like Naruto.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all I've got.
You tapped?
Yeah, I'm tapped, man. I got nothing.
You got anything else?
I got plenty of gas, but
we'll tap that later.
All right.
Yeah.
No, you
right.
can.
So that was GACC Podcast for this week. Of course, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button. Maybe give us a comment. Tell us what you want, or point out some stuff you want us to cover. Of course, we'll always be interested. And upvote, rate, review. If you like us, check us out on iTunes, Google Play. We need ratings and reviews over there always, especially in this day and age, in this current climate. Every little bit helps, guys. Like, if you've watched us this long and never really bothered, do it for this episode at least and give us that. Stop that. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next week.
He's no fun.
This isn't a quick and dirty.
Oh.
Damn. Shut down.
Amazing.